Hey, everybody. We're here today with Dirk Manning, author of many, many things, including the thing I bought from you at New York Comic Con, which was the London After Midnight trade paperback.
Yeah.
And which I enjoyed a lot because that's the one. Yeah. Which is the only way that fans can really experience that story now because of it being lost media.
Yeah, so, and we'll get into this, I'm sure, more later. But what a world, man! That as a horror writer to be able to bring that back to life, especially when like my author photo for people that know me only online and see the Dirk Manning avatar is pretty heavily influenced by this, and has been for over 2 decades. And now to be in a spot where I got to help bring that back. But yes, thank you. Hello, welcome.
Yeah.
How did you get contacted by the family, by Lon Chaney's family?
How did this come about?
It's very interesting.
If I'm correct, it's Ron Chaney was the member of the family?
Yeah. Ron Chaney runs Chain Entertainment. It's like, what a world, man. And I could spend an hour just telling this story, so I'll give you the quick and dirty version, is that I wrote 2 volumes of a comic called Twisted Haunted Highons with the rock crossover band Twisted out of Detroit, which is a story in and of itself, because before I wrote comics, I did music journalism, including working with the Insane Clown Posse, of whom Twisted was once the mentees of, mentees of ICP. Twisted's manager, George Valakis, had been in touch with Ron Chaney on the side, being a big Wolfman fan, about getting some Wolfman stuff, possibly. George, wonderful human being, great guy, mentioned to Ron, hey, have you ever thought about doing in the graphic novel space? We're having a lot of success with Source Point Press, with Dirk, with Haunted Highons. So George made the introduction between Ron and I. Ron originally thought about doing some of his original works as graphic novels. And that was kind of the direction we originally were talking about going, until he happened to mention in passing that he had the rights to London, that he could do London After Midnight. And I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm all about doing the original content too. That's cool. I said, but what a way to start, like you said, with one of the most iconic pieces of lost media of all time. And we did it.
Yeah.
We did it. 100 years later, the full story is now out as a graphic novel from Source Point Press. You can pre-order it through Lunar, through Universal, all the avenues, and get it in your local comic shops in January.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, London After Midnight was a silent horror film. It was released in 28 or 25. I can't remember the exact year, but then it kind of went into a vault or a storage space, and there was a fire in that storage space, and the print was lost for the most part.
27. Yeah,
27.
So it was only shown in 27. Destroyed.
It had its theatrical release.
Right.
It was destroyed before it was ever shown on television, like the other Universal monsters.
Really?
And then it was just gone. But there were these images left over from press releases, from frames that survived the fire. So people always knew the image of Lon Chaney with the top hat and the teeth. Everyone knows that image, but no one has really seen the movie since the 20s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, and it's wild because also, like, on top of all that, this is the first ever American cinema depiction of a vampire.
Right.
And this was directed by a guy named Todd Browning, who went on to go do Dracula with Bela Lugosi, among other things.
Yeah, and Freaks, which is another fantastic old horror.
I wasn't going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm a horror guy, but Freaks. Amazing. Right. He'll never work in this town again. But one of us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But so just, like any self-respecting horror fan, right? I would like see the books and see the magazines and stuff like that, and always see that image of Lon Chaney as the man in the beaver hat, the vampire. Yeah. No one knew the story.
Right.
So I tell people the 2 most nerve-wracking moments of my career, and in March will be my 23rd year as a published author in graphic novels.
Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you. It's 7 more years. It's a career, right? Is the second most nervous was getting the screenplay from Ron.
Yeah.
the first most nervous was giving him back the adaptation, especially the last section. Right. I'm like, here we go. But I'm exceptionally excited. Ron's excited. Ron Chaney Chain Entertainment approved every panel, every word balloon, every page, every lick. He wrote an introduction. He did a little afterword as well about it. So for fans of like, that have been waiting forever or, to see the story, this is the story. You no longer have to like watch, like you said, the spliced together slideshow that the Turner Cinema put out with some music in the background.
Right.
This is the story. We did put word balloons in it and stuff like that, so that people know what's being said. But this is the official Chaney Entertainment approved.
Yep.
Wow.
This is the book.
It's a good. It feels like an old monster movie when you read it. It has that feeling to it of like you're watching a black and white late night television showing of an old monster movie. That's what really feels like that way.
Joshua Ross, the illustrator, and Colin Johnson, the colorist, deserve so much credit for that. I've worked with Joshua Ross for most of my career. Colin Johnson I've been working with for years. And that was really important to us, is like, we didn't want to like say, here's a modern version of the story. Right. No, we want this to feel like you are in the film. From following the beats of the script to the dialogue to the coloring to the artistic style, everything. We wanted this to feel like you were experiencing the film. So hearing people that have read it in advance, like you say, that is very that's very cool. Thank you.
It's not out yet, right? It's not officially out yet.
It will be out in January. So when we're recording this, which I won't say when that is,
it will be out.
It'll be out in January. You can pre-order it now through Lunar, through Universal. Source Point Press is under the Prana Publishers section, but you can get it that way. I've had copies available at conventions. Ron has had copies available at signings, things like that. But it's in wide release now. Through
when this is us.
When this is on. You can. So that's how, Dirk, you end up on the show. Is we met you at New York Comic Con, and Brian liked the book, and we were like, let's have Dirk on, and we talked to you at the convention. It's great that we're finally here talking about it.
Now,
my pleasure.
Let's talk horror first.
Okay.
Yes.
What brought you into horror? What was the thing that grabbed you, and you were like, this is I like this. This is horror. This is my thing.
My folks were rock and roll people, so like I grew up, like my earliest exposures to music were like Black Sabbath and Alice Cooper and stuff.
Where'd you grow up?
Just south of Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So Detroit Rock City, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's it's like, depending like which way the wind was blowing, you turn your antenna and get channel 20 and get the monster movies.
Right.
And so I grew up, with that. Then my great grandma was a big fan of like the Twilight Zone. So I would watch the Twilight Zone all the time with my great grandma. And then of course watching like the creature features on Saturday mornings and stuff like that, the Godzilla movies and all that stuff. So really, I mean, when they say dyed in the wool horror person, I'm like genetically a horror heavy metal kid, adult man, whatever. So, but to me, that was it, and I love horror because, and then even in reading, right, I would read like Stephen King and Ray Bradbury and Edgar Allan Poe, and I mean, he's not horror per se, more speculative fiction, like Harlan Ellison, right? That's just where I lived, man. And because to me, a good horror story answers the question. Let me back up. I'm not a gore zone guy. I'm not the per se. I mean, it has its place. I can talk at length about the French New Wave of horror, right? Sure. But to me, a good horror story answers the question: what would you do if?
Right.
And as someone that intakes the media, as someone that outputs the media, to me, that's the question. That is, I think, one of the most foundational questions to human existence. I said I'm not inherently scared of werewolves, right? I've lived my whole life, to my knowledge, never having met a werewolf. I don't anticipate being a werewolf. So I don't go outside worried about werewolves.
Right.
But let's say that the three of us were doing this interview in a food court in a mall, right? or we're at the Javits Center, and all of a sudden werewolves start like galloping down the aisles and stuff like that, just rending flesh and throwing bodies everywhere.
Yeah.
What would you guys do? What would I do? What would the people around us do?
Right. I would throw him in front of him.
Yeah, right. It's like a zombie apocalypse, right? You don't have to be fastest, you just can't be slowest.
I'm way faster than him, so I know
he knows he's going to take the knee. But that's what's fascinating storytelling to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? That's always just been of such interest to me. It's like the human condition and how a good horror story explores the human condition so well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And also, it has there's a good argument to be made that it provides a way to sort of safely deal with anxiety in a speculative way, so that
Absolutely.
Anxiety in real life isn't going to really harm you. Right. Because I'm not going to, like you said, I'm not going to be attacked by a horde of zombies anytime soon. But the anxiety produced by that idea could be, something that you overcome vicariously, and then thereby life is easier.
Yeah. It's like the CDC years ago did something where they put on their website what to do if there's a zombie attack.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And what this really was about, and this was before we lived in the times we live in now, but what they did was, it was basic disaster response stuff.
Right.
Do you have bottled water? Do you have this? Do you have this? But because like when the Walking Dead zeitgeist took off, that was like a way to like tap into that, but tell people, hey, here's some like basic stuff that you need to think about. Right.
Yeah.
So, you're exactly right. It allows us to speak to a greater condition. Most of your classic horror stuff is really based in some sort of archetype to the human condition and things like that. Right.
Sure.
I mean, any horror fans know this. People that aren't overly familiar with the genre, just like, oh, well, that's just gore, that's blood, that's guts, that's zombies. It's like, no, it's about, it's about commercialism, or it's about this, right?
Yeah. No, what was your, do you still have a horror movie that and I'm going with movie because it's, I think, more, I don't know,
prevalent.
We can talk about novels too, but
movie.
Horror movie that still you think is scary. That you saw, you were like, that's scary, and then you still think, well, okay, that's still pretty scary.
From a strictly scary perspective as an adult.
Let's say something
or you mean as a kid or as an adult?
I always thought, here's my example. Yes. My example was always, if people ask me, what did you see as a kid that you still think is scary? If somebody ever asked me that question, my answer is always the Salem's Lot TV miniseries.
Oh gosh, yeah.
When the kid is scratching on the window, to this day, I recently rewatched it, and I was as uncomfortable watching it now as I was when I was probably 5 when I saw, or 7 or 8 when I saw it. I was like, this still bothers me. I don't know why it still bothers me.
The one that jammed me up when I was little was the original Alien.
Okay.
I tell, and I will die on this hill. Alien is not a science fiction movie; it's a slasher.
Nope.
It's a slasher movie. Oh, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We know our own people. Right.
It's just the killer is an alien, not a human being.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that one was one that I would get like the hibbly jibbly still. That was a big one. But again, the original cheap jump scare at the end of the first Friday the 13th. Was one of the times I saw my dad scream in terror because it got everywhere. But as an adult now, as a connoisseur and creator of horror, the movies that live in my head that still kind of like, it took me years to rewatch Martyrs. Talking about the French New Wave of horror. Martyrs is it's a lot, man. That one was like I had to kind of like get myself to the point to rewatch it because it was so dread laden. Let the Right One In is another one, and I hate saying that movie. That lives in my head rent free. That movie,
that pool scene.
I didn't think there was anything new you could do with a vampire, right? Yeah. Then you watch Let the Right One In, you're like, oh my gosh. And then they did an American remake, of course, Let Me In, which is okay. It's fine.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I only saw, I saw the Swedish one, but the pool scene is crazy good.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's one of the scenes. Yeah,
Yep, coming down. Just unbelievably good.
Yeah. But again, those movies are less about the jump scare as we get older, but more about like the bigger message that they talk about, like the human. Let the Right One In is a perfect example. It's about the human condition, right? So But again, I mean, one of my earliest memories in a theater was seeing The Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember when that was released in 3D.
Yeah. So they get dun dun dun.
Yeah,
you see the claw come up. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. So it took a lot to get me when I was little, but Alien was a bit. Alligator too. Back when I was little, kind of. I mean, I went back and watched. I was never scared of it, but Alligator had some of those scenes.
I thought it was a great movie. I loved Alligator.
John Sayles, right? Didn't John Sayles write the script for that? He was like an Oscar-winning screenplay writer.
Really?
It was a good movie. Yeah, like the bit when they push the kid in the pool and the alligator eats in the pool. And eventually, it comes out.
And scary because it could happen. That was the scary part of that. Like, an alligator could actually attack me.
Right, and the fact that again that example where spoiler on this 40-year-old movie, whatever it is, these kids are bullies and they push a kid in the pool, not knowing an alligator's in there and eats them. It's like the alligator's just alligatoring.
Well, he's doing what he does.
Right. He does. But the kids that bully this kid, they're the real jerks here.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are some of the ones that as a kid and as an adult still kind of live rent free up here.
I might have to go watch Alligator again.
It's a good movie.
That is a good movie.
Yeah, I went back and rewatched it a couple years back, and it still held up as just good creature feature fun.
Yeah. Did you see Crawl?
To watch the one inside the basement?
The hurricane?
Yes. Yeah. That was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, she's trying to rescue her dad. Yeah. Oh, that was great.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, it's a movie that felt like it had consequences too.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the other things that's so crucial. Like, I as a writer, I'm very much against plot armor, right? Where, they have to survive because that's no. If I sense a movie is overindulging in plot armor, I'm like, no, if there's no way that they can get out of the situation, then they don't get out of it.
They shouldn't get out of it.
They shouldn't get out of it. That's it. You screwed up. We switch the focus to someone else. We move on. The story ends, whatever it may be.
Well, that's I love movies and TV shows like that where there's no real lead character. You don't know anyone could die at any time. And that's what makes it more interesting to me, where like you said, there's those movies where, this guy's getting out of here. And that's, I don't want to know who's going to survive by the end. I want to know I want everyone to be equal. Everyone can get eaten by an alligator. That's just one.
Yeah, right. A great TV show that I don't think gets nearly enough credit. Black Summer on Netflix.
Oh, Black Summer was good.
It's very good. It's a zombie show. And it's one of those ones, I mean, it suffers from comparison to Walking Dead, but in some ways, I think it's a much tighter, obviously a tighter story. It's shorter. Yeah. But that was another one where anybody can go at any time, right?
Yeah. Didn't that have and it's something to do with Z Nation too? Which is weird because Z Nation was a comedy.
I love Z Nation.
Z Nation was more comedic, and this was not comedic at all.
Z Nation's a comedy, and that wasn't really my bag. Black Summer is...
I don't know Black Summer.
It's brutal. It's about the actual zombie
events that led Z Nation.
It's dark. It's
very dark.
I think it's 2 seasons.
Yeah. All right.
And I wish there'd be a third one because it was that good. But it's another one where you don't know who's living and who's going, who's not.
I like that.
Yeah. So add that to your winter review.
I certainly will.
Yeah, you gotta check that one out.
Now, what do you have coming out now? What's your next thing coming out that you can talk about?
Talk about.
Yeah, one of the.
You have London After Midnight coming in January.
London After Midnight in January. February, I don't have the trade paperback here, but my horror anthology. This was the Kickstarter exclusive hardcover of Love Stories About Death. Really cool horror anthology.
That's
7 full-length stories, each written by me, drawn by a different art team. All love stories with a horror twist or horror stories with a love twist. And then in March, which should be available for pre-order right now, again, staying in the horror vein, Josh Malerman, writer of Bird Box, Incidents Around the House, which is turning into a movie called Other Mommy, New York Times bestselling author. His first graphic novel, I got to bring to life with him, co-write it with him. It's called RSVP ESP. And that will be coming out from Source Point in March, and that's available for pre-order now. And to get to work with Malerman on his first ever graphic novel and to bring that out from Source Point Press is just it's amazing. It's about a scientist who invites 2 psychic children to his lab because he thinks they might be mildly psychic, and he's desperately trying to prove that, like Zener cards, there's people that can do it. No, these kids are like Omega level psychics. One of them really wants to prove psychic powers are real. The other one does not. Yeah. And they start like reshaping reality around the doctor.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
It's intense. It's fun.
Yeah. Now, were you a comic fan when you were a kid, or like, are you just like, is comics like a medium that you just want to bring horror to, or is it like, were you already into comics as a kid?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. You can see, I'm surrounded in office by graphic novels and stuff. But and Clive Barker or something. I didn't get into comics till I was about 13. Right. But I've always been a voracious reader. You're born a writer. Being a writer is not a job; it's a curse, right? And but I always identify that I'm a horror guy who loves the comic book medium.
Right.
I love this medium for telling stories. I love ingesting stories in this medium. I love prose too, right? It's like I've been. Hopefully, by the time this airs, I'll have finished King Sorrow by Joe Hill. I have like
I still have to buy that.
It's so good, dude.
He's great.
Like I have every Joe Hill book signed by Joe Hill. Right?
He's great.
Like, he's amazing. But I'm a horror guy who loves comics. Because I didn't get into comics. I was about 13 years old. And then I was like, there's always going to be more stuff I can read. Yeah, that was the first thing, right?
Right.
Every month there'll be new. Yes. But then I started to like learn about the medium and start to really deconstruct how you tell stories in this way and words and pictures and things like that. And the first two graphic novels I read were Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons.
Great. Yeah.
Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller.
Again.
And The Crow by James O'Barr.
Yeah. All big ones.
That will hook you.
Exactly. That'll F you up. That's why I am sitting here right now. That's how you make a Dirk Manning. You have a little kid raised on heavy metal and horror movies, and then you give him those 3 comics when he's 13 and he knows he wants to get involved in writing.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are good introductions.
The rest is history.
Yeah, those are good introductions.
Yeah, the rest writes itself, right?
Now, have you read any of the other, like, is there a horror comic that you still look back at now and think like, oh, this is another influence? Right. Like you mentioned Watchmen, you mentioned Crow.
Yeah.
Did you ever read any of the late 80s sort of Vertigo stuff or any of that stuff?
My gosh.
There was tons of horror stuff in there.
Yeah. I talk in my book, Right or Wrong, A Writer's Guide to Creating Comics. I did a book about writing for comics, and I talked about how my early goal was to get a story in one of Axel Alonso's Vertigo anthologies.
Oh, okay.
Whether it be Flinch or Gangland or something like that, but then I quickly realized, that wasn't going to happen. So I developed my own horror anthology series called Nightmare World. Yeah. In 2003, I started publishing online. It was one of the first ever fully realized comic books published online. Because horror was being so ghettoized at that time, especially short stories. Right. So yeah, I love that stuff. I mean, he again, Axel Alonso, the meeting with him when I tried to talk to him about how can I get to this point. Mind you, again, 20-year-old something me, whatever I was. Here he is working with Bruce Jones and Richard Corbin and early Brian Azzarello and Garth Ennis. I'm like, please, sir, may I be in your horror anthology? But he was exceptionally gracious, exceptionally kind. And now, like, I'm loving the fact, and I'm going to make an impassioned plea to every horror person out there. If you have not yet started reading Junji Ito because it's manga. Oh, yeah. Read. Please, look, if you got like a holiday gift card left over or something for Amazon, go get Uzumaki by Junji Ito. Yeah. It is the scariest horror comic I've ever read. It's about a town that's obsessed with spirals. Yeah. Okay. I've heard of it. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. Oh my gosh. And like, we live in a world now, like it's behind my chair. I can't like wheel around and wait for you to see it. But they're putting out all the Junji Ito stuff in translated in hardcovers and in manga-sized hardcovers. He's amazing. He is a master of horror. I mean, a master of horror. If I get to the point in my career where I can write one thing that is like 2/3 as good as what he's done, I will have been like, I'll like ascend into like the nirvana of the universe, right? He's amazing. And a lot of people, I get it. American comic readers sometimes still are funny about manga-sized stuff. Yeah. Don't be. Don't be. It's incredible. Junji Ito, Uzumaki. Oh my! It's just a perfect list. Or start with one of his short story collections. He'll just blow your mind if you've never read him. Yeah, I've seen the art and I haven't had a chance to actually read it. I keep meaning to like delve into that world and I haven't yet. Go ahead. Yeah. I I cannot recommend it enough. Like it's
Yeah.
start with Uzumaki, or if you're a short story, pick one of your short story collections. But to me, Uzumaki is where to go.
Yeah.
Again, it's about a town that's obsessed with spirals,
Yeah.
which sounds like the most innocuous, harmless thing imaginable.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally created a masterpiece of horror. Adult Swim did like a 4-part miniseries adapting it in the style in which he drew it. Even.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would read the book first. I mean, it's very, it's very close. It's actually really good. But oh my gosh, Uzumaki, Junji too. I've had one or two chances where I almost got to meet him, but then like things didn't work out. Mm-hmm. But he's a guy like I would just be like a babbling idiot. Like, thank you, somebody. He's the master. He is the master of horror comics, bar none.
There you go. You something to pick up now.
Yeah, now I got to look for that. Right, and I have to get King Sorrow because I've been putting that off. I got to get it.
Yeah, I look forward to your thoughts on both of you. Do we'll follow up off the clock.
Yeah. No, I really like Joe Hill's work a lot.
Oh,
he got me with Horns originally, and then I went back and read 20th Century Ghost, and I absolutely love Nosferatu. That book was amazing. Yeah, I still tell people that, like, if you've never read one horror novel in your life, read Nosferatu. That's the one. Yeah, that was great.
He won me over 100%, and I never looked back on Heart-Shaped Box was the one that got me.
Great novel.
I literally couldn't put it down. It was really good. Like a holiday weekend, and just in my pajamas reading. Have you you like Nosferatu? Have you read the graphic novel companion, The Wraith?
I have it. Yeah, I did read it.
Yeah.
That was well done.
I actually bought I'm a Joe Hill junkie. I actually bought the big hardcover version with Nosferatu and The Wraith all in one book. Again, it's like I like books, right? It's like
you tell.
Yeah. You might get that impression that you guys are in your own man cave as well. You get it, right?
This is all me. There's comics on the other side of us.
Right.
Filled on one side,
an unbelievable amount of
large
books.
Amount of comics.
Yeah, it's not hoarding of its books.
Library.
I could.
Yeah, right. It's not hoarding of its books. Right.
That's right. It's collecting.
Right.
Tell my wife that, please.
Now I realized I have to go through and create a reference sheet or some sort of database so that someday when I shuffle off this mortal coil, people will know this shelf is signed stuff. This is signed by Richard Corbin and Harl Ellison. This is signed by Alan Moore. This is signed by this.
Right.
And don't just Goodwill this.
Don't just give this away.
This stuff should go to a museum. Please. This stuff should go here. Right.
Don't just give it away.
Somebody stumbling across a signed Alan Moore book in a Goodwill.
It could have a heart attack. Happen.
Well, I'll tell you what. I have the two things that I collect are three. One's irrelevant now. I have a bunch of stuff signed by Harlan Ellison.
Okay.
I have all of Joe Hill's books signed by Joe Hill, and I have numerous things signed by Alan Moore. So just wait, watch the Goodwill one day.
I have to keep an eye out.
You'll know if I got that database done or not, right? Do not just dump this stuff.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit because in my research, you wrote a book that really piqued my interest. Arn Anderson.
Yes.
So I'm a lifelong wrestling fan. I have been since I was 5, and I've watched it religiously since I was 5. To be honest, and I still to this day I'm in my 50s now. I still watch it.
Same. Religiously.
How did Arn Anderson come about? And did you have interactions with Arn Anderson when writing it?
Oh yeah. Again, my great grandma, we would watch Twilight Zone and professional wrestling.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right.
I watched from my grandparents too. I watched on Channel 9 here in New York on Saturday nights. We watched wrestling.
Yeah. See, and Detroit, the Detroitish area was Saturday mornings, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I did a book with Tony Schiavone.
I do.
And so Butts and Seats, the Tony Schiavone story. We were going to get together in person, and I was just going to be talking to him and then break down the whole book. And that was we were planning to get together in March of 2020.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know it happened in March of 2020.
Yeah, March 2020, suddenly no one was around anyone.
No one was meeting anyone.
So we ended up doing the whole book on Zoom.
Okay.
Right? And the book did really well. Butts and Seats was actually, thanks to Tony, the first ever creator-owned graphic novel advertised on cable television. It was advertised on AEW Dynamite, stuff like that.
Awesome.
So when I was doing a signing then down the road with Tony, I was in an appearance with him, Arn Anderson walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, I got a question." I'm like, oh God. I'm like thinking to myself, did I say anything at any point about Arn Anderson that he's about to, spine buster me? And he's like a bowling ball with legs, man. He has arms he's solid. Solid. He's like granite. Super nice guy. Well, I came to find out. He leans in and goes, "When am I going to get my comic book?" And I'm like, oh. Now, I thought getting to work with Shivani was like a one and done, right? I get to check that box off.
Right.
I've worked with rock bands. I've worked with horror people. I got to work with a wrestler. I'm like, hey, man, I've done I'm over the tour, right?
Right.
So we then, again, did this very similar format where we just did I did a number of Zooms with Arn, and we talked about his life. Now, I'm going to say with both books, originally I almost said no to the Tony book.
Okay.
Because when you're writing a book about someone's real life, like Twisted, it's like their fake ghost hunters get called real houses. When I did a book with the Harp twins, it's like they're like secret dragons, right? It's different when it's not real life. But I didn't want to be involved in a vanity project. And with Tony, what I really found was it was a really compelling and authentic story. And Arn was the same way. He wrote a book back, kind of kayfabe style book years ago. But he wanted his real story to be out there about how he was raised by his grandparents and then what he did in the wrestling industry and stuff like that. So it was really, really cool to get to do that book with Arn. He was very, very kind. He was very gracious, just an exceptional gentleman. Super cool. And there's stuff in the Arn Anderson graphic novel that he has never talked about anywhere else, including, and I mean, I guess I can say it now, like Arn Anderson wrestled under a mask at one point.
Was he? What was he called under the mask?
You got to read the book.
No, I'm gonna He's definitely gonna get the book because to me,
always be closing. Always be closing.
There's been recently, we've noticed a big influence of wrestling in comic books. There's
big time.
Couple of
showing up a lot.
Things coming out. And a couple mixed horror and wrestling and comics, and we both love it. Like Brian's not really a wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling fan, but he loves the whole idea of wrestling and comic books.
You know what won me over was Daniel Warren Johnson's Do a Powerbomb.
Yeah, I you can see that, right? Hold on, where is it? I'm backwards on my camera right there.
Too,
see that?
Yeah,
there it is, right there.
Yeah, I had it like somewhere.
That right book blew me away.
Well, and let me be exceptionally clear on this.
Mm-hmm.
I am obviously not the first person to combine real wrestling people in comic books.
Right. Yeah.
I am the one that with Tony's help, we did about $125,000 on Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Khan personally congratulated me and talked about how excited he was about the book. We got the book advertised on AEW, which is owned by a company that owns, suddenly remembered they own DC Comics.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
We've seen a lot more since then. And there's some people that are in this space that are real salty that just are salty, right? But we came in, we did it, we rocked it. And if we can push the doors open to help bring more eyes to all of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Look, man, clearly I'm a comic book fan. I'm surrounded by comic books. If you go to Kickstarter, I've backed over 450 projects as of now on Kickstarter. I love this medium and I want to pay it forward. So if there's anything that I could do with the book I did with Tony, the book I did with Arn, to help widen that door a little bit more.
Yeah.
Not everyone has that attitude. There's some people that are going to die mad. And die mad, sorry. I mean, we crushed it and I'm excited we did it. It's getting to be a little more of a cluttered space, a little bit of a trickier space right now. And again, admittedly, I kind of fell into it too, right? I'm a wrestling fan. I watch wrestling every week. I listen to wrestling podcasts. That's what, when I'm driving long distance, that might be what I put on if I'm not on a call. Right. But I'm excited that continues to grow. And like you said, Daniel Warren Johnson do a power bomb, and he had Batman giving a one-winged angel to someone in a comic book.
Now, look at what's going on in DC Comics right now.
KO.
Right.
KO.
KO.
It's a wrestling
Right.
based.
And you see it
storyline.
around the ring in AEW.
Yes.
Which again, and I just think back to when we had the Butts and Seats logo on television. And I'm thinking, and again, I can say this now, I now serve as publisher of Source Point Press, so I can speak. The only person I'm gonna get in trouble is myself. But it's like, man, we snuck in.
Yeah.
And I give all the credit in the world to Shivani for doing that for us, man. And he really
great.
took over. And when I got to meet Tony Khan, and the first words out of Tony Khan's mouth was, "Thank you for doing this. This is so awesome." And Tony Khan, I'm going to get just deep in the bowl for a second. He gets a lot of heat online, I think.
A lot. Especially lately.
But you know what?
A lot lately.
He was so nice and so gracious and so cool. And another one that was cool that it just didn't work out because of timing and things, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Super awesome. And Arn, so wonderful. Navigating that book through a very tough time in the industry and being nothing but gracious and understanding. And the fact that people are still talking about that book, I mean, it's cool guy to do it. At the end of the day, I'm a horror guy, but I love wrestling. I love metal and music and stuff. And to get to do that, it was really an honor. Really.
That's cool. Really, for me, that's a really, like, Arn Anderson. I'm growing up as a kid, they were my favorite. How could they not be your favorite? They were my favorite. And the things they did in wrestling, like when any of them pop up, it's like when Arn was managing in AEW and Tully was managing in AEW. It was just so awesome to me that they're bringing these guys back who really, made me love wrestling. Again, I grew up in New York, so WWF was it. That's all we had. And then we had NWA was on like Thursday nights at like midnight on like a UHF channel. And right. And I'd throw it on and I'd watch Barry Windham and I watched the Florida wrestling and I loved, and Arn and Rick were there.
Yeah.
And
they're not cartoon characters. What's happening here? Right.
Right. And it was great because it was so different for me than what WWF was at the time. Like, WWF was very, comical and very based on like not real people, where at that point, that Florida wrestling, still to this day, Gordon Sully, to me, is the guy who announces wrestling when it's in my head.
When you say Arn and Rick, you mean Ric Flair?
Yeah, Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. The Four Horsemen were Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard, and a host of a bunch of other guys as the fourth.
And a rotating guest.
And a bunch of other wrestlers, but the three of them were always together as the Four Horsemen. And a lot of stuff that Flair says, that styling and profiling, that's the Horsemen. Right. That's what they were doing.
That was them. And Arn was the one that named him. And it's so funny because, and again, I'm going to get deep in, I could talk process all day. So when we were doing the thing with Tony's book, Shivani's book, it was all, my working title in my mind was always like Walking Among Giants or Life Among Giants. Right. That was never going to be the real title. Right. But it was just like, here's this normal guy in this world that's so much bigger than him. Right. And what does it look like as the everyman to navigate through this and be the guy that puts these people over? And that's why we land on Butts and Seats. Now his famous Butts and Seats call, but literally he put butts in seats.
Yeah. Brian has no idea who Tony Schiavone is, mind you.
No,
he has no clue. When you're talking about Brian,
he's a wrestling announcer. He's an announcer.
He's been a wrestling announcer for 40 years.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Since the 80s.
You name it. He's been everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, with Arn, now Arn's an actual wrestler. Yeah. And Arn was always the guy behind the guy, right?
Arn is every wrestler's favorite
wrestler. That was the tagline. We put that in the book. Favorite wrestler is Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
He could be funny. He could be ruthless. He named the Four Horsemen. He created the idea of the stable. But Arn is not the Ric Flair, right? No. He's not the Hogan. The book starts by Arn talking to the readers or the interviewer, and Arn Anderson is the only, even if you don't know nothing about wrestling, you'll appreciate this. There's only been one wrestler in history to have a victory over Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and Andre the Giant. And that's Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
He's the only one to have victory over all of them.
Right.
And he's now the only one that ever will.
Yeah, it's true.
So, but yet he's never been the guy, he never had a t-shirt when he was an active wrestler.
Yeah.
And that's the juxtaposition. Like, what's it like to be the guy behind the guy? And that's what's called My Life as the Enforcer. And we started really looking at his whole life in real life, how he was always like the guy behind the guy. You get to be he was the definitive henchman in a way. You get to be Ric Flair and woo, woo, and all that crazy shit, pardon my French, all that crazy stuff. because you have Arn Anderson behind
That's
you.
right.
Yeah.
And that's not that Flair can't handle himself, but I'll tell you what, if I had to fight Ric Flair or fight Arn Anderson,
You're fighting Ric
I
Flair.
would fight Ric Flair 5 times
100%.
before I fought Arn Anderson.
100. Even now, even at his
now.
age now, because I saw a video the other day, him coming out with his son at an indie show,
Brock, yeah.
and he looks like he could go. There's
one of the biggest pops in WrestleMania history was when the Ric Flair Undertaker match, Arn Anderson out of nowhere sneaks in the ring and hits the Undertaker with a spine buster, and people thought that was going to break the streak.
Yeah.
Because holy crap, it just. Yeah, but that's the story though, right? Even though you like wrestling, that story is interesting. And to have Arn talk to the readers the whole time and tell the story and do flashbacks and flash forwards, I mean, it was a project I'm exceptionally proud of, right? And that's one cool. We hope to get back out in the market through SourcePoint with our new deal with Prana and going through, Lunar and Universal and stuff. If there's copies left too, because could we reprint it? Yeah. Maybe, we'll see what happens, right? But
now, what would you work on a lot of different things? So horror, you get the wrestling. What would be your dream project to work on right now if you could? A character or story?
I'm gonna be such a shill, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. To me, more than anything, it's my creator-owned series, Tales of Mystery.
Okay.
And I want to finish it. Like, this is the omnibus that collects the first 4. Volume 5 came out a couple years back. Volume 6 is, as we're probably talking now, at the printer, right? To get to be, with Volume 6, almost 900 pages into a creator-owned series.
Yeah.
My goal is to finish the series. I know where Tales of Mystery ends, and it's a horror noir series. It's a story that I uniquely can tell. That's to me like the thing. Because here, and again, and I'm not trying to humble brag, for goodness sake, we brought back London After Midnight. I got to work with Twisted. I got to work with Shivani and Arn Anderson. It's like, what? I mean, could I do a Creature from the Black Lagoon book or a Godzilla thing? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but you don't really feel connected to it.
I would be one in a line of 100 people doing stuff like that.
Yes.
Maybe not the Gillman, right? But there's a million knockoff Gillman. But I would rather take what I like about the Gillman and do my own story in Tales of Mystery or something like that about what is it about this concept that I like so much, or another thing. So ultimately, to me, that's where it comes down to. I'm fiercely independent. I've never really chased a lot of work. I mean, I got to work on a Wizard of Oz book, for goodness sake. But I don't chase those gigs. I take those gigs if they're going to speak to me and they're going to ideally grow my audience, but more importantly, I'll have fun with it. Will I regret not doing it? So, I mean, would it be really cool to write Ghost Rider or write the Midnight Suns for Marvel? Yeah, but honestly, and I shouldn't say this because I'm going to shoot myself in the foot here. I know it gets less enticing every day.
Okay.
Because I have so much time to write. I at the end of my career, I'm only going to be able to put out so much stuff. Right. And I don't want to be in a position where I write a Midnight Sun story arc and then find out on Twitter or whatever that they're making a movie based on my thing.
Yeah.
There was a time I would have sawed off my pinkies to write the Midnight Suns. Right now, I'm looking at it's off camera. I have an old school spinner rack, and it is full of my own work and no doubles. That's where it's at. I would rather. Alan Moore once had a great concept. He talked about the human sedipitification of culture, and how we're just regurgitating the same thing over and over. To me, it's more important to put new stuff out, to put out Tales of Mystery, to put out Homestead, and then you bring back London After Midnight, or you help Arn Anderson bring his story out there, something like that. But your original content should outweigh that vastly.
That's a good way to look at
the
it.
IP stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Now, you have any appearances coming up anytime soon? You any conventions in the near future?
I get back on the road in March. I've been taking more of a little sabbatical. It's not confirmed as of this recording, but my birthday's at the end of January. I think I am doing a horror con appearance in Monroe, Michigan at the end of January.
Okay.
But then I'm really getting on the road hard in March. I'll be hitting like the bigger shows would be like C2E2 in Chicago, one of my favorite shows of the year every year. I'll be doing that.
I hear a lot about that.
Yeah, we hear a lot. That's a good show. I heard.
We hear a lot about that.
It's a great show. Like it's equivalent to New York in a lot of ways, but not as chaotic.
Right.
Yeah.
More like a terrific.
I'll be doing like Fantasticon Toledo. I'll be doing Astronomicon, which is the show that Twisted puts on. I'll be doing that show. I'll head whatever Free Comic Book Day looks like this year. I'll continue my 20-year tradition of going down to Pack Rat Comics in Columbus. I've gone there every year for Free Comic Book Day. I'll do that. Memorial Day weekend, I'll go up to Traverse City to Cherry Capital Comic Con, an amazing convention up there. But yeah, people can go to dirkmanning.com and they can see all my appearances. I fully intend on being back in New York in October again. I've been doing Comic Con for the last 10 years or so now, whatever it's been. Yeah. But yeah, people go to dirkmanning.com. I have a newsletter I send every month, but all my appearances are listed on there as well.
Great. We'll put that in the description.
Link will be in the description for anyone who wants to go. You can buy books on there too. You can buy
there are links to where to buy the books right now. I'm really trying to drive people to comic shops and things like that. My books are available on Amazon and stuff as well. If you have a comic shop you can support your local comic shop.
Yeah,
and if you can't do that, if you want to go see creators in person to buy it from them, do that.
Yeah.
But Amazon's there too, right? I mean, we have to honor all markets. I buy stuff on Amazon a lot. Right? It's late at night and I'm like, it's 40, so, but yeah, people can check out all the books. And then I'll put a plug in too for sourcepointpress.com is my publisher. We have just a litany of amazing creators doing amazing books on there as well. People can go to sourcepointpress.com, check out all of our creators on there and their work as well. We just got and with Source Point Press, we focus on horror, speculative fiction, and pulp, and just amazing. Our tagline is "Comics with a Sharp Edge." Right,
that's a good one.
We'll check them out definitely.
Yeah, so that'll be all really cool graphic novels to check out there as well.
That's cool. That's great.
Awesome.
Just one suggestion: Audience and Monster Hunter. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
The monsters wouldn't stand a chance. That's the problem.
They always run away from him. He spine busts everyone.
He just spine busters the world, right? It'd be like One Punch Man or whatever, right? Just one hit, boom, done.
Arn Anson as a comic book hero. I don't think life gets better. Listen, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. And we hope we run into you again. Yeah, at New York Comic Con. Probably
definitely see you. If you have anything else in this area, we hit a lot of the East Coast shows. So if you come to the East Coast anytime.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. People can follow me on social media at Dirk Manning. Just look for the top hat and the scarf guy that looks kind of similar.
Looks like that guy.
Right? East Coast, New York Comic Con's my big one, but again, that's kind of like my big East Coast show. So I'll see you there latest, but hopefully we'll be talking sooner about Uzumaki and King Sorrow.
Yes.
And stay in touch on social media.
Perfect.
But worst case scenario, I would love to connect in October latest. But thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Dirk. Thank you for coming. Thanks for taking time. We appreciate it. We will talk to you again soon.
We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.